Ashley was a 24-year-old ballet dancer, and Doug was a 54-year-old Navy veteran and technology consultant when the two met at a Republican Party fundraiser at the Palm Beach mansion of former presidential candidate Ben Carson in August 2016. Ashley had been a member of Donald Trump's campaign entourage, traveling to rallies and working in the campaign's Florida office, while Doug was close with some of Carson's big donors. After they partied that night, Doug sent Ashley a text filled with laughing emojis and smiling faces. "Love the time with you, Ashley Oakley," he wrote. Ashley was addressing Doug as "my dear" and thanking God for bringing him into her life. "Are you always this sweet and awesome?" she asked after Doug invited her to join him on his next trip. "Always except when shooting something," he replied. They sent each other hearts and Bible verses and favorite songs. She liked classical and country. He liked Frank Sinatra and praise music, which he sometimes put on when he left the house for the angels to enjoy. After knowing each other for only 13 days, the two were married by Doug's close friend in Charleston, South Carolina at St. Michael's Episcopal Church. His friend wasn't thrilled but agreed to perform the ceremony. They told almost no one of their plans, not even Doug's teenage daughter. The couple hosted a wedding reception for themselves in a downtown Charleston hotel. Ashley moved into Doug's house in Mount Pleasant and struggled to bond with Doug's daughter, Eva. Eva, aged 15, was 9 years younger than Ashley and was still mourning the loss of her mother just 9 months prior. Things moved fairly quickly as Eva was introduced to Ashley after they were already married. She had no idea they were even dating. At first, Ashley tried to befriend Eva by sharing her favorite video clips of ballet, taking her shopping for houseplants, and helping her repot them in mason jars on the porch. But then Ashley found Eva's diary, and after reading it, she learned that Eva hated her. Within a year of being married, Doug had a vasectomy reversible, Ashley got pregnant, and they started a ballet. Ashley had a dream of starting a ballet company with the goal of hiring dancers of all body types, including curvy and shorter ones. With financing from Doug, the couple founded the American National Ballet. Dancers from all over the country began arriving in Charleston, South Carolina at the end of the summer of 2017 to join the American National Ballet to work with Ashley. The dancers were told that they have 8-month-long contracts and health insurance and would help redefine the ballet world. Ashley wanted a child of her own, so she asked Doug to have his vasectomy reversed. It didn't help that Doug was seeking money into the ballet. Just weeks before the dancers were due to arrive, Ashley learned that she was pregnant, but the physical symptoms were worse than she expected. The nausea was so intense that she was sometimes too weak to stand or take a shower. The decision was made that Ashley should rest at her mother's house in Florida while Doug stayed in Charleston to focus on the ballet. While Ashley tried to regain her strength in Florida, Doug was in Charleston, South Carolina, scrambling to keep the American National Ballet afloat. The reported $2.5 million budget had never existed, but Doug still hoped he could raise the money before anyone caught on. He borrowed tens of thousands of dollars to fund the first payroll. Doug agreed it would be a good idea for Ashley to rest at her mother's house in Florida, but Ashley took it further than he ever expected. September the 18th, 2017, Doug was hosting a big lunch party for the American National Ballet. Ashley, not telling Doug she was coming, set out on the 500-mile drive from her mother's home in Florida back to South Carolina. She quietly let herself into the home, packed up her clothing, and left him a 4-page letter. It read, "I can honestly tell you that I am completely heartbroken," her letter began. "You yell, scream, and cuss at me. You have thrown and broken things, even a loaded gun, which left a giant hole in the wall." Ashley was referring to the one day after Doug and Ashley argued about Eva. Doug lost his temper and fired a gun into the ceiling of their home. Doug was very close to Eva. They were best friends, and Eva told him everything, including all her boy and friend drama. Eva played lacrosse and Doug didn't miss a game. As Eva got older and lived in another city, every single morning without a doubt, Doug texted her a Bible verse when he woke up. Ashley also stated in her letter that she was also not happy about the condition of the home. Black mold on the walls, unsafe tap water, and exposed outlets. Do not harass or try to follow me, or I will call the police and have a restraining order against you, she concluded. Do not call me or my mom. We will not pick up. Eva said she could tell he was heartbroken after he read the letter. But Doug wasn't ready to give up. He sent actually text after text begging her to reconsider. But for the next month, she ignored his desperate pleas and daily apologies. He told her he was going to therapy and locking up his guns. I will never raise my voice to you, he vowed. Thank you, amazing woman of God, for being you, he wrote the following week. I am constantly sending angels to guard and protect you and our baby. Ashley responded only to debrief about ballet contracts and to thank him for adding money to her account. The months that followed were an increasingly rough time for Doug. The funding never fully materialized, and the ballet company fell apart. The dancers were surprised to find that Ashley, the company's co-founder and director, was nowhere to be found and had moved back to Florida. In October 2017, Ashley left the ballet company and half of the dancers were fired. The dancers began to worry that the company's promises would never come when they didn't get paid. Ashley posted on the ballet's social media pages that she was devastated and that the new leadership destroyed all that they worked so hard to build. Doug begged her to take her post down. You are hurting the dancers who are staying, he wrote. What about all the people whose lives were just ruined, she replied. There's no money, he wrote. About the same time as the ballet collapses, Ashley starts to claim Doug tried to poison her with heavy metals. She complained about horrible sharp pains in her stomach and chest. She visited doctors and took powerful medications, but some days she could barely get out of bed. Still searching for a diagnosis, she decided to send a lock of her hair to a lab company. When she received her results, she claimed that the lab said that they had detected dangerous levels of aluminum, cobalt, zinc, and tin in her body. Not long after Ashley got the results of her hair analysis, Doug sent her a gift that included tea bags. She not only refrained from drinking the tea, she went to the American County Sheriff's Office and had it examined by a specialist from the Hazardous Materials Response Team. They found nothing. In an email letter on March 15, 2018, Doug tells Ashley that he wanted to be a part of their child's birth and life. When the email was sent, Ashley was 3 weeks from her due date. But the next day after Doug's email, Ashley told medical staff that her baby had been exposed to heavy metals because Doug had poisoned her. So she checked herself into the Tampa General Hospital without Doug knowing and delivered a baby girl by a C-section. Ashley named her something she and Doug hadn't discussed. He wasn't even listed on the birth certificate, and the baby wasn't even given his last name. Since she found out she was pregnant, Ashley did all she could to ensure Doug stayed away from their baby. She even filed multiple domestic abuse claims, but charges were never filed. Manatee County Sheriff's Office conducted a 5-week investigation and were unable to find any evidence to support her claims of abuse. Ashley wanted to raise her daughter with her mother alone. She didn't want to co-parent, period. She kept claiming that Doug had killed Eva's mom. She had even pulled Eva aside one time, claiming she was worried about her safety and that her dad did bad things. At the injunction hearing on July 30, 2018, Doug was seeking custody of their 4-month-old daughter who he never met, while Ashley was still claiming domestic violence and Doug attempting to poison her. Ashley wanted a restraining order, but a judge denied the order because she did not find Ashley's claims believable. Doug was granted immediate visitation rights. He had already moved to Florida and got an apartment. Days later, Doug and Ashley met outside the sheriff's office to exchange the baby. It was suggested that Doug, Ashley, and the baby spend time together. And Doug was all for it because he wanted to make the transition as easy for his daughter as possible because to her, he was a stranger. Doug thought that they were back together, that they were doing what they were supposed to do in the beginning, which was to slowly get to know each other and be a family. In November 2018, they enlisted the help of a marriage counselor and reconciled for much of 2019. But Ashley shows up in August of 2019 to drop off their daughter. Doug notices that she was wearing an engagement ring. He realized they may be the reason why he sometimes had trouble reaching her. Doug grew suspicious, so he secretly placed a tracking device on Ashley's car and hired a private investigator to learn that Ashley was seeing someone else. Doug filed for divorce in November of 2019. This time, the separation was his idea. Ashley then began to accuse Doug of physically and sexually abusing their daughter. A second injunction was sought by Ashley, accusing Doug of child abuse. She testified her daughter started coming home with injuries after spending time with Doug. Doug denied the accusations, and CPS found no evidence of abuse during their investigation. As part of those proceedings, Doug and Ashley were evaluated by a psychologist. While talking with the psychologist together, Doug said reconciliation included his wife dropping her petition, a fact that Ashley did not dispute. But in private conversation with the psychologist, Ashley stated that she did not plan to withdraw it. With all that had happened, Doug still hoped that they would move in together and be a family. He forgave Ashley for the affair and begged her to withdraw her accusations of the physical and sexual abuse of their daughter. May 2020, 2 months into lockdown, Ashley appeared to have the change of heart Doug had been waiting for. She texted Doug and said she wanted to talk and wanted them to go to a real trauma therapist. They started tentatively going on dates, and Ashley even suggested they move together to Maryland. Doug was under the impression they were using the move to reconcile, but Ashley didn't intend to reconcile at all. September 14, 2020, Doug emailed Ashley telling her that he was excited to begin the next stage of their journey. Doug's lawyer warned Doug that Ashley might have concealed motives and that she could be using the opportunity to look for a new jurisdiction and new judge in Maryland to gain sole custody of their daughter. Doug replied, "I have the same concern. I do not trust her at all, no matter how much I hope for her to change." But Doug rented a U-Haul anyway. Doug came by Ashley's mother's home around 5:30 p.m. on September 27, 2020 to help Ashley pack for their move to Maryland. While Doug is filling the U-Haul, Ashley's mother took their daughter for a walk to the neighborhood park. Soon after, police responded to a 911 call and found Doug fatally shot on the bedroom floor, bleeding from his leg, arm, and chest. Ashley told police Doug had tried to attack her and she had shot him in self-defense. Photographs were taken of Ashley within an hour of the shooting and again a few days later. There were no injuries on her besides a scratch on her right side. Ashley's claim of self-defense became problematic. Detectives noticed that Doug had no guns or weapons on or near him at the time of the shooting and found no evidence that she was acting in self-defense when she fired multiple shots at Doug. Based on the entry wounds, it didn't appear that he was even facing Ashley when she began shooting. Doug was shot 4 times. The medical examiner reported one of the rounds entered the outside of his right leg and exited the inside of his right leg. The other round appeared to have skipped the right bicep and entered his chest cavity from his right side. It was also confirmed that after being shot, Doug had an abrasion on the back of his head that matched a small patch of disturbed drywall on the bedroom wall. A warrant for Ashley's arrest was filed on November 4, 2020, 6 weeks after she shot Doug. She was charged with second-degree murder with a firearm. The arrest warrant noted, it appears that Ashley had exhausted all legal means of keeping the child away from Douglas before the shooting. Ashley, of course, pleaded not guilty. After spending a little over 2 weeks in jail, she was released on a $100,000 bond, which she paid. On her application for a public defender, she said that she had no cash, no bank account, and no savings. She was given a curfew and required to wear an ankle monitor. Due to financial hardships, the judge granted a request to waive the monthly cost of $120 of the ankle monitor maintenance fee. The former ballerina lived with her mother and daughter while she awaited trial. July 2021, Ashley appeared in court asking the judge to dismiss the case against her based on Florida's stand your ground law, arguing she fired the gun in self-defense. Under Florida's stand your ground law, a person is justified in using or threatening to use the deadly force if he or she reasonably believes that such force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another, to prevent the imminent commission of a forcible felony. The individual also is not required to try to run away first before firing the gun, and this doesn't apply if the person is engaged in a form of a criminal activity when defending themselves. Judge Matt White denied her motion. White said, considering the totality of the evidence presented during the hearing showed that the state proved Doug's homicide wasn't a singular act of necessary self-defense, but was instead an accumulation of lengthy, concerted effort by Ashley. Before the jury selection began, the defense team attempted to delay the trial by 60 days, asking for continuance and claiming recent rulings by the court had severely impaired Ashley's ability to present an effective defense. Judge Matt White denied the motion, saying that the defense had had more than enough time to prepare in the 3.5 years since she was charged in 2020. Trial began on July 23, 2024. The defense claimed that Ashley was defending herself from an abusive husband, and the prosecution's theory was that she was doing everything in her will to keep their daughter away from Doug. Ashley testified that she feared for her life when she fatally shot her husband during what she described as a terrifying confrontation with him. She said they were moving to Maryland but would be living separately. While packing the U-Haul, Ashley said that she noticed their items mixed together and Doug became upset after she brought it up. She said that Doug started to get agitated and said it shouldn't be your stuff, your house, my house. As they continue to pack and move boxes, Ashley tells the jury that Doug body checked her twice, slamming his shoulder into hers and nearly knocking her over. Things started to escalate, and she said that Doug hit her for the first time. She then ran to the front door. He stopped me, grabbed me by my hand, and yanked me back, she recalled. He said, "Where the F are you going?" At this point, she said she told Doug she was done and that he needed to leave. She then ran to her bedroom, scared that Doug was going to kill her. When she got to her bedroom, she grabbed a gun. While Doug was standing in the doorway of the bedroom, Ashley claimed that he appeared to be in a fighting stance and told her she was done. His face was red, the veins were bulging in his neck. The way he was looking at me, it didn't even look like Doug. His eyes were black, she said. She stated that she thought that when Doug saw the gun, he would leave. But instead, she said that he lunged at her and she started pulling the trigger. Emergency dispatchers received a 911 call around 6 p.m. from a man who said his neighbor had just run to his home, shouting for help, claiming her husband had just attacked her, and she shot him in self-defense. Doug Benefield was later pronounced dead at the local hospital. Nearly 4 years after Doug was shot and killed, a week after the trial began, the jury found Ashley, after 7 hours of deliberation, guilty of manslaughter with a firearm. After the verdict was announced, the judge revoked Ashley's $100,000 bond and remanded her to the custody of the McNeese County Sheriff's Office. Her sentencing is scheduled for October 22, 2024. She faces up to 30 years in prison. Her daughter is being raised by her mother.